A right Achilles strain, but the team says he'll get an MRI this morning. AD sounded optimistic after the game, but added, quote, "I don't want to mess around with this type of injury." Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard is joining us now. Chris, great to see you. How concerned, though, should the Lakers be about AD here?
Well, I mean, let me start, I guess, Jim, with the good news is that, Anthony said that after yesterday's game, the doctors told him structurally everything looked fine. And they're doing the MRI today just out of caution. And we'll see if it's anything worse. But as long as it's just a strain and they think it's fine, you're concerned, but you don't have to take it to the, to 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. Obviously, if it's anything serious, I mean, it would be virtually a death knell for the Lakers' championship chances. I give them a small, very small chance if something was really wrong with AD. But they have to take their time with this injury. You don't want it to get serious. And I would let him sit out as long as it takes, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is, for him to get the soreness out of that Achilles. Because they can't win the championship, or they have a very small chance of winning it if AD isn't healthy or is really out. The interesting thing is this is a continuation of what's been a really disappointing individual season for AD, in my view. I expected him to come off of this championship last year to really have more confidence and to take it to another level. I actually thought there would be a natural passing of the torch on the Lakers from LeBron to AD, and AD would be in the MVP conversation. But instead, his scoring is down, his rebounding is down, his block shots are down. And here's the most interesting thing, his free throw percentage. He's a career 80% foul shooter. He's shooting 71% from the line, and he's getting there a lot less than he used to. So it's weird what is going on with AD. I don't know how to describe it. And from the eye test, when I look at the games, I think he's playing really well defensively. But then the numbers analytically show you that the Lakers actually have been better with him off the court than with him on the court. Now, I'm not suggesting they're better defensively without him, but that's just a strange thing. Maybe he's not playing quite as good defensively as I thought. But I think AD, in this time that he is, resting his Achilles, he needs to think about why he hasn't been the player he was last season this year for the Lakers, and I think he needs to come back when he gets healthy and be more aggressive.
I agree, Chris. I think if you look at it, you give him 2 weeks, Skip, that'll take him to the All-Star game. You get that week off. So you're looking at 3 weeks. If he takes 3 weeks off to try to get as much soreness, because this is something that he dealt with in the finals. You remember, was that Game 6? Game 5, he injured on that Friday night, Skip, I think. Yeah. That great game between Jimmy Butler and LeBron going back and forth. He kind of injured it, and it kind of lingered. And having a shortened season, it probably lingered into it. But I agree with you, Chris. They're not winning the championship. And LeBron, I don't know if LeBron can play the amount of minutes that it would take for him to drag them out of the West. He would have to go back to play those 42 and 43 minutes. He can't play that. He can't sustain 42, 43 minutes anymore. Maybe for 1 or 2 games, but to ask him to do that, like those overtime games, Skip, nah, I don't believe he can do that and today. So I would take 2 weeks, knowing that's going to lead me into the All-Star break. That'll give me another week. That'll be 3 weeks, and give me a full opportunity to get this thing healthy, Skip. Because if you bring him back, and then guess what? He plays 2 or 3 games. He got to sit another week, plays 2 or 3 games. What are you actually accomplishing? You might as well just let him sit out, get it as healthy, as close to 100% as you possibly can, and bring him back. But then it might be something, Chris, he has to deal with, because he said Friday was the best he had felt in a very long time. And it was just one little step that caused the flare up, and here we go now, and we getting the MRI today to see the extent of it.
Okay, my turn. I have observed, tried to study Achilles tendon injuries for years and years. I've talked to so many doctors. I have doctor friends. It's the most mysterious rupture in all of sports when you tear your Achilles tendon. But what my experience is that pain is a good sign with the Achilles tendon. He's having acute pain because he's got tendinitis that's led to tendinosis, and I know it gets complicated. They're trying to say tendinosis. I kept hearing this about Kawhi 3 years ago in San Antonio. He's got tendinosis of his quadriceps.
Tendinosis. Yeah.
Tendinosis. Okay, that means what? It means he just wants out.
There you go. There you go. Now you say AD wants out.
Yeah. No, he obviously doesn't want out. But I'm here to tell you there's very little cause for concern, because the sheath that goes up and down the tendon, it moves inside the sheath. It's just inflamed. Yeah. And once it gets inflamed, it just hurts like unholy hell.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get out of bed in the morning, but usually it will respond to ice, and it will respond to some kind of orthotic in your shoe, because you have to bump it up, make it lift up higher, because somehow your feet are out of balance a little bit, where it's getting too much strain. When you push back off it. It's stretching farther than the other is, and it's gotten out of control, inflamed. And when he went to push off on that move down the baseline, it got inflamed again. Well, okay, 2 weeks is fine, but I would say in 1 week, it will start to feel immensely better, because he said last night it felt like it was 100%, but then he tried to push hard on it, and here it goes again. So maybe you need to make sure that you get all the inflammation out of it. But in the end, the ones that come out of nowhere are the ones when you have no pain, you have no warning whatsoever, and all of a sudden your Achilles ruptures because somehow the tendon was compromised and you did not know it. Because when it's compromised, it does not hurt. It's somehow frayed. It's got microscopic micro tears in it. And once it frays and you don't have any pain, all of a sudden, all you have to do is just step sideways, and it just ruptures for no apparent reason.
You can tell it's really sore, Skip, because you walk like you got a club foot. That's how, when you get out of bed, I don't know if you ever had Achilles problems, Chris, but that's how you walk first thing in the morning. That thing's so painful. You walk with your whole foot. You put no.
But he could walk. He left under his own power. That's when I thought, well, there's no way it just ruptured. I mean, that's the worst thing that could happen. So I still think it's not DEFCON 1 stage. It's just something that's going to irritate and annoy him for a while. And you just need to lay off it and ice it and treat it. And obviously any kind of anti-inflammatory will take the inflammation out of it.
But they need him.
Can you play through that, Skip?
No.
Can he? I mean, let's say he comes back after the All-Star game and it's sore. Like, you wouldn't try to play through that, right? You just
he ain't playing through that.
Although sometimes, and I can only answer that from running, because you get it a lot when you're distance running, you can trot through it. You can't run through it, but you can kind of trot through it, and then it becomes a matter of your personal pain threshold, because it's not going to get any worse, but it's not going to get any better either.
But here's the problem that you run in when you start doing that. You start changing your normal gait.
You do.
And you start hurting
your
other
knee,
things.
Your opposite knee
exactly. It's just like if you have a flat tire. You can drive around on your flat tire, but you're going to end up messing your rear end or your front end up. You're going to mess up your axles. You're going to end up messing up something else. So, no, I wouldn't recommend it. And look, I've had it. He ain't playing through that. Not all that jumping and running and sprinting he got to do. No, sirree.
Okay. So what's going to happen to them if he takes off 2 weeks and then...
Go, James. Go show you why Chris Broussard got him at the top of his list on the MVP.
Wait, do you still, Chris? Do you?
I do right now.
You do?
And here's why. I've got him slightly ahead of Joel Embiid. And hear me out. Obviously, Embiid's playing great. But Embiid's already missed 5 games, okay, out of 27. That's not a ton, but over 82 games, on an 82 game schedule, he would be on pace. He's on pace to play like 67 games. Nobody this century, and really within like the last 40, 50 years, has won the MVP. Bill Walton was the last one in the full season or close to it who didn't play, that many games. So Allen Iverson played 71 games in 2001. Since Walton in 1977, I think, when he played 58 games out of 82, that's the last time a guy played so few games and won MVP. In what wasn't a lockout shortened season, or even last year with the break that they had before the bubble. Obviously, they're not playing 82 games. So I think Embiid has to play maybe 60 of 72, something like that. So he could miss too many games for me and maybe some other voters to give him the MVP. So right now, with LeBron playing every game, I think that that's part of the equation for him being MVP. I will say this. If Davis has to miss, a suspended time, LeBron should not overextend himself, like Shannon was saying, to try to keep the 1 seed. Because of a few reasons. One, we don't know what fans are going to be like, come playoff time. Will it be half full, packed, 2,000 fans, no fans? So the Lakers shouldn't be concerned about that. Secondly, if they play a team like the Clippers in the conference finals, you're playing in your home building where you're comfortable. And if there are fans, it's going to be more Laker fans than Clipper fans. To take their time with this injury. You don't want it to get serious. And I would let him sit out as long as it takes, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is, for him to get the soreness out of that Achilles. Because they can't win the championship, or they have a very small chance of winning it if AD isn't healthy or is really out. The interesting thing is this is a continuation of what's been a really